Hey everybody, it's Mahadeva, the OG Dr. Manhattan. All right, so today we are going to be talking about 10 signs that show you that you are also becoming a Dr. Manhattan. All right, and the impetus behind this video today is that there are quite a few people who are doing the lightning Qigong, which you can find if you go to thunderwizard.com and you click around for Warrior 90-Day Lightning Qigong. Okay, that is at thunderwizard.com. And the elite program of that is the maoshan.thunderwizard.com, which you see me doing in this video right here that we'll show you in a second. And people who are doing those things, as you know, you are tapping into the third secret energy source within the body, my experience, the most powerful energy source within the body. You have the Qi meridian system, which you are aware of if you do any kind of Qigong, any kind of pranayama. You are using life force energy. There's the Kundalini system, which travels up the spine, which people are very well aware of. And there's Kundalini yoga and meditation and mantra and all kinds of things to awaken the Kundalini. But there's a third energy system, and that is the Shin, or the heart mind, and it surrounds the soul. So the soul sits here in your middle dantian, your middle self, and in this middle self sits the soul. The soul is infinite. It is timeless. It is beyond time and space. It lives in multiple dimensions. And in order for it to be able to be implanted inside of this avatar, three-dimensional physical meat bag, virtual reality suit that you call the human being, the soul has to be surrounded by the power of lightning. This is the feminine power, and you have it. Everybody has it right here in the chest. But it's locked away. All of that lightning energy is focused on keeping the soul from destroying three-dimensional reality, because the soul is infinite. And it's protecting the soul from the harshness of three-dimensional reality, especially two-dimensional behavior of people. This is very difficult for the soul in its purest form, because the soul doesn't operate from negativity like fear, anger, selfishness, all this betrayal, all the things that happen when, that can happen when you live in three-dimensional reality. So the soul has to be protected. And it's protected by the most powerful energy source known to us in three-dimensional reality, and that is the lightning. Now, as you see here, Dr. Manhattan released his lightning power, and then through his mental determination, he brought himself back together. And that's the process that we do when you do this kind of practice. Also, when you're doing the 90-day stuff, you are tapping into what you may not see here is that it looks like I'm doing some weird little martial art thing, but what's happening is that although that is a martial art, all of the movements are designed to stimulate a meridian system that people are aware of, but even high-level Chinese practitioners don't know how to stimulate the meridian so that it releases this lightning power. And instead of the lightning power being focused inward, it now releases itself outward. And when this happens, the body goes through a metamorphosis and you become a Dr. Manhattan. This is why when you watch those Chinese movies, Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, whatever the hell it is, whenever you watch these movies in traditional Chinese culture, these people end up having these kinds of superpowers, whether they're able to fly or float or, air punch or whatever the heck it is. That's a result of opening up the heart center. Now, even in Chinese mythology, people don't realize that this actually does take place. You have to know how to stimulate the meridians that go directly to that and release that. Otherwise, it stays self-contained and people don't become aware of it. It ends up becoming the protective coating around the heart center. And in traditional Chinese medicine, this is called the emperor's bodyguard, meaning that the soul is the emperor, not only of you, but of the whole universe. Your soul is God. And the emperor has a feminine bodyguard that is the most powerful energy, especially when it comes to fighting negativity, because you need to have this lightning power protecting the soul from, as I said, from the traumas, from the betrayals, from the hurts that happen in life. And so when you're able to tap into that, you become this. So today we're going to be talking about the 10 signs that you experience when you open this up and you turn yourself into your own Dr. Manhattan. I thought about drawing a little thing on my forehead today, but I'm too lazy for that. So we're going to look at the 10 signs. And once I've gone through the 10 signs, of course, if you have any questions, feel free to ask, and I'll be more than happy to help with that. Let's see, what am I doing here? Am I currently, what's going on? What's happening? Let's get rid of Dr. Manhattan here for a second. We're going to look at these 10 signs, the 10 signs that you are becoming a Dr. Manhattan. Before I do that, I just want to double check and make sure all of my stuff is working here. Okay, it looks like that I do have a current video chat going on. If you have any questions, of course, do me a favor, wait until I'm done with my lecture and I'll be happy to answer any questions you have. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at these 10 signs that you are in fact becoming a Dr. Manhattan. First thing, by the way, the reason why I'm doing this is that people email me on a daily basis saying, hey, this is happening to me and this is happening to me, and is there something wrong, and is this normal? What's happening? And that's, unfortunately, even though I am providing this information for the first time over a large distance through video and internet, people can have access to this, what was once a secret practice that you could only get if you were accepted into special little, groups of people that knew this power. But I am, for the first time, to my knowledge in history, revealing it to the masses this way. But the downside is that you don't have a teacher there with you physically when you have a sensation to help you understand, no, that's what's supposed to happen and here's why. So my apologies. A lot of people are going through these Dr. Manhattan experiences here and they're asking, is this supposed to happen? Is that supposed to happen? What the heck's going on? So we're going to look at the 10 signs that many of you are probably experiencing as a result of this. And you'll know that, no, you're not going crazy. You are, in fact, becoming a Dr. Manhattan. And what you can do to help ease that transition. Okay, so first sign is you are going to have softer skin on your hands and feet. The reason for that is that the heart mind, this lightning power, the meridians have a direct channel to the center of the palm, which is called the Laogang point. And it is among the meridian for the heart center, there is 5 elements associated. The fire is associated with the center of the palms. This is why the martial art is so lethal and so effective. is because the amount of lightning energy that's coming through the hands is, well, I mean, I could tell you stories, but the physical result of doing just the postures up here and the exercises I teach you here, the physical result of that is you are going to open up the Laogong point in the fire element within that, in the hands. So the hands will become very soft, like a baby's. You know, I lift a lot of weights, but I don't have any calluses. Calluses fall off of my hands very quickly. And people actually are emailing me going, calluses are falling off of my hands and feet. Is this normal? What's happening? No, this is a good sign. It means that the lightning power is in fact being released, and it is making its way to the palms of the hands, which will make the whole hand soft. In fact, it'll make all the skin soft. I get that comment all the time. Even, you know, young women, you know, in their 20s, when they touch me and they feel my skin, they go, "My God, your skin is so soft. Your hands are so soft." You know, they're softer than theirs even. And so this is a sign that the energy has made it to the hands. Same thing happens with the feet. It's very common, especially if you're doing this, because you know, you're doing a lot of, you're stimulating all the footwork that you see. Well, you don't see me doing the footwork, but all the footwork that's being done here is stimulating the meridian points on the bottom of the feet. And the steps actually are very important because they stimulate the meridian points that again connect here. And so a ton of energy will come out the soles of the feet. And when you wake up in the morning, it's very common to wake up with this experience of your hands pulsating and your feet pulsating. It's actually a pretty pleasant feeling, but it's kind of unusual. And so the calluses on the bottom of the feet will start dropping off. You'll no longer need to get those, you know, those files and start filing all the calluses off the bottom of your feet. They'll just fall off. So that's sign number 1. Sign number 2, you're going to have deeper sleep. You know, sleep, the truth is that the human body doesn't need that much sleep. People who have multiple personalities, for example, they hardly sleep. And they don't suffer from any of the problems of lack of sleep. The reason for that is that the majority of the time that you are sleeping is used for the identity, your psyche, your ego. You know, the story that you have written about yourself. By the way, this is why, in case you don't know, people who have personality disorders, like narcissistic personality disorder, these people don't sleep, Donald Trump. These people don't sleep. They sleep 3 or 4 hours. Your body needs about 3 or 4 hours. The other 4 hours is for your psyche. When people don't get enough sleep, what's the first thing that happens? They start to hallucinate. Hallucinations are the body going into a dream state. You have to go into this dream state for the psyche to readjust itself. You have all of these experiences that you've had. You have this story of who you are. You have this continual story. This happened to me, that happened to me, I believe this. You know, this is why, you know, the Dr. Manhattan experience can be so traumatic, is because you're going to have to get rid of, delete a lot of things about your story of who you think you are. And that's, you think that sounds great. Oh, I want that. Except when it starts happening to you, you feel like you're going out of your mind and you feel like you're dying because you don't realize that all that negative programming, I believe this, the world does this to me, my parents did that, I'm a this, nobody likes me for this reason, the world is unfair. All of those things are part of your story that is connected to your identity and your psyche. And in order to keep that narrative going, you have to sleep so that the psyche can go and clean information out. And this is why dreams happen. Dreams are the unconscious mind trying to work through, what it believes about this and how it feels about that. And so that's what dreams are all about. That's why when people don't get enough sleep, first thing that happens is they start hallucinating, because the brain has to go into a dream state. And if it has to do that while you're awake, it will. So the one thing that's going to happen is you're going to have deeper sleep. Sometimes you're going to sleep longer. Maybe you only sleep 4 or 5 hours. You're going to sleep a full 8 hours. And this is because you are restructuring your identity. People with personality disorders don't have an identity. By the way, that's why serial killers, that's why narcissists don't have any empathy. They don't have any empathy because they don't have an identity. They can't relate to you because they can't even relate to themselves. That's why you're just an object. You're not a real person, because they're not a real person, because they don't have an identity. You have an identity. So you have to sleep. You don't get enough sleep, you're going to be cranky and upset and feel tired all the time. And this is why as people get older too, like normally if I'm not exercising really hard or practicing really hard, I don't need more than 5 or 6 hours of sleep. And I'm one of those people that's always needed 8 to 10 hours. One of the reasons is, of course, there's physiological changes, but one of the reasons is that your identity has become more refined and embedded. Old people tend not to change. So there's not as much of a need for them to sleep longer to have their personality figure itself out. So that's number two. Number two is that you're going to have deeper sleep so that your psyche can reorient itself. Number three, you're going to feel more relaxed. Now, many of you don't know what relaxation feels like. So I've had people, and I went through this as well, but people are emailing me saying, I'm really tired all the time. I'm feeling really fatigued. No, you're just relaxed. You just don't know what that feels like. And you have been probably living in a state of trauma. Most people are. There's women that I've dated who, they like what I do and more about what I do. And, I'll say, well, it's a good idea to meditate. And they'll go, I don't have time for meditation. I'm like, what do you mean you don't have time? You don't have 10 minutes to meditate? 10 minutes? I don't have 10 minutes. I can't, and their life is filled with so much busy work. That is not necessary. It is completely unnecessary. This is people in a state of constant trauma running away from their unresolved feelings. This is, again, it's very hard for me to listen to, especially, people with kids. People who have kids and they complain about how hard it is to have kids and that you just don't have any time, and they act like these victims. And I go, whose idea was that? Nobody forced you to have kids. That was your choice. What are you complaining about? I've chosen not to have kids for that very reason. People need to find things to keep themselves busy all the time so they don't have to sit with themselves. And so relaxation, when your body's actually relaxed, because you're not constantly in a state of, why do you think people drink coffee all the time? Coffee doesn't energize you. Coffee gets the adrenal glands going so that you're constantly in a state of, that's not energy. In fact, the most energetic is when you're the most relaxed. In order to do what Dr. Manhattan's doing over here, you've got to be in a state of complete, total relaxation. For the average person, they're going to feel catatonic. Now, for me, I don't have that experience. When I get into that relaxed state, everything slows down. And I'm able to see and hear and feel and experience, but there's no intensity, there's no effort. In fact, you feel like you're just floating through life, and life is just like moving around you. You're just sitting still while all of life moves around you. But from the outside, you're doing a lot of work. Over here, to be able to do this quickly, you have to be so relaxed. Feels like nothing's going on. You see me moving around, but from my experience, the world is spinning around me. I'm just sitting, I'm standing in one spot. That's my experience of it. So the second sign is that you will feel more, or the third sign will be that you feel more relaxed, which is actually a sign of energy. It's not a sign of fatigue or anything else. The other thing is that some people really don't get any true rest. The body doesn't really go into, or the mind doesn't go into a deep enough state of relaxation where they get deep rest. So one of the things that happens is that when you get enough energy in the body, then the body, you'll want to fall asleep. People who say that they can't sleep, they have insomnia, they'll say, I have too much energy, I can't sleep. And that's actually completely false. If you have insomnia, it means you don't have enough energy. It takes more muscles to close the eyes than it does to open them. It takes energy to be able to deeply relax. If you don't have enough energy, you will be in a constant state of trauma. And you'll think you have energy, but it's not energy, it's a lack of energy. It's what's happening when your battery is about to burn out. It keeps itself awake. You have to have energy to sleep. So that's number 3. You're going to feel more relaxed, and it could be because for the first time in your life, your body says, okay, finally I have enough energy to sleep, and you might sleep 10 hours. You'll get up and do things you want to go and take a nap. So there might be periods of time where you just spend a lot of time napping. You have to be comfortable in yourself. You have to have the energy. You have to have a measure of peace, which you may not have ever had, and you're going to feel more relaxed. But because you don't work with me, you're going to email me going, I'm fatigued all the time. What's going on? Is this normal? Yes, it's a good sign. It means that your body is regenerating itself, just like Dr. Manhattan. All right, moving on. Number 4, you're going to have intense dreams. So this is because one of the ways that you connect directly to the ancestral realm, the realm of the ascended masters, the elves, the bodhisattvas, the light council, the star seed bee, I don't care what word you use, guardian angels. You need to have a connection directly to them, and the heart mind is one of those connections. And so the dreams are a sign of, could be multiple things, but you'll experience a level of dreaming that's more intense and more real. It'll feel more real than even normal dreams, even more real than normal waking life. What's actually happening? If you're a spiritual person, you might want to spiritualize all of the dreams and say, I left my body and I talked to this. Some people, will email me and say that I had a dream about you. Did you come into my dream? No, not consciously, I didn't. I have no idea what my higher self does when I'm asleep or when you're asleep. But anything is possible. But more than likely, it's your unconscious mind working through things on a deeper, more intense level. It could be exactly what you might be having spiritual experiences, because this heart mind is a place where it can connect directly to the spiritual realm. The soul sits right there. So the soul has the ability to go anywhere at any time. So you're going to have more intense dreams. And I would recommend that you listen to them and that you write them down and then watch what happens in your real life to see if you're actually having a dream that's connecting you to another realm. So number 5, you're going to have deeper morning sleep. This is another one. I just recently got an email from somebody saying I can't get out of bed in the morning. And he was worried, and I understand. But because I had a teacher and I would go, I couldn't get up in the morning. He goes, oh yeah, that's normal. That's normal, especially when you're doing this stuff. When you're doing this stuff, you're going to feel like you can't move. And you just, oh, the bed feels so good. I just don't want to move. And that is a result of the intense energy that's moving through the body. The meridians are opening up. And again, the body wants to stay in that relaxed state. So the easy way out of that, yeah, you're not going to want to move. You don't want to get out of bed. Get up, get on the edge of the bed, and then breathe deeply. This will bring the chi back into the body, because you've gone so deep into your soul that you're going to need to bring the energy back to your body. Of course, your meridians are wanting to heal, and they're wanting to regenerate. Your aura is like a muscle. You go to the gym and you lift weights, you know that the next couple of days your muscles are going to be sore. And you go, that's good, right? Your energy body is the same. When you do this stuff here, or you do this stuff up here, then what's going to happen is that your aura gets expanded beyond its normal size. So it's like a muscle flexing. It's going to want to go inward in order to regenerate and heal. So that's what's happening when you're sleeping. Your energy body goes back inward, and then in order to get it back to its normal place, then you take some deep breaths. You might even get dizzy because of the amount of energy, because your energy body becomes really hungry. So when you inhale, you actually pull in much more life force energy into your aura, and your head will spin a little bit. You might have to hold yourself on the bed as you feel the energy and the tingling and the pulsing coming through you. So that's the way. If you're having that experience and you're just not wanting to get out of bed in the morning because you're doing these exercises, sit on the edge of the bed and just breathe long and deep. Inhale really deeply. Hold it. Exhale. Any other deep breathing, whether it's alternate nostril breathing, or if you want to do one of the other mudras that I teach, that will also, this one especially, really empower the aura and bring your energy back, so that you'll still have this very relaxed feeling, but you'll be buzzing with energy. All right, so that's number 5. Number 6, you're going to have increased emotional awareness. Now, this is one of the most challenging aspects of it. Most people, especially people who follow the new agey stuff like the law of attraction and the Zohar the Magnificent, who channels the beings from Zeta Reticuli and tells you really normal common sense things, but because it's coming from an alien in another solar system, somehow it has some deeper meaning. People who follow that kind of stuff are using spirituality as an escape. Now, I don't judge them, because I do the same thing. I do this stuff, I get high. I get really high off the energy. I'm willing to go through the emotional transformation because I like the feeling of being high off of this lightning energy. So I'm willing to go through it. But many people come to my channel and come to my practices because they want a deeper spiritual experience. They want a spiritual experience. And like many people, they're wanting to escape. They don't want to look at their pain. They don't want to look at their unresolved psychological issues. Who does? And so they're looking for a pill. This is why The Matrix, the movie, he just takes a pill, because that's symbolic of what people want. They just want to be given a pill. This is why people go to church and get saved. Jesus did all the work. All they have to do is just, sell their soul to the devil. Give their life to Jesus, and everything will be okay. This is why people want to go listen to Zohar the Magnificent tell you why the law of attraction is just sit on your ass on the edge of your bed and have happy feelings, and happy things will come to you. They want instant gratification. They want a pill to take. They don't want to have to deal with anything. This is why so many people think that enlightenment is being free of all of your problems and all of your feelings. No, that's a dead person. When you're dead, you have no feelings anymore. If you're alive, especially spiritually alive, you have more feelings. In fact, before you become enlightened, you will go through an experience of, I can't contain all of these emotions. They're too much for me. So, unfortunately, that's what's going to have to happen. The good news is that the universe is kind, so it gives you these kinds of things where you get a positive experience. It'll dangle a carrot in front of you, which will be the feeling of being high, the spiritual powers that you get. These are all carrots that the universe dangles in front of you so that you're willing to do the work to transform yourself, which means having all of your thoughts and feelings. People ask me all the time, how do I get over my feeling of this? How do I get over that? And I say, when did I ever tell you you were supposed to get over anything? That's not how this works. Enlightenment, very simply, is this. You have all of your thoughts, all of your feelings, all of your impulses, all of your instincts. You are aware of all of them. You have no judgment, whether they are positive or negative, whether they are pleasant or unpleasant. You have them, you experience them, and then you have the consciousness to take whatever action is constructive, which may be contrary to your instincts. You may have to do the very thing that your instincts and your emotions are telling you not to do. Or you may have to not do the very thing that your impulses are telling you to do. This is not a pleasant experience, Dr. Manhattan. It's not a pleasant experience, but it's what enlightenment is. And you can be in a state of the highest enlightenment possible and be very unhappy and be in a lot of pain. Most people don't, they judge that. You know, I'm love and light. I don't have any negative feelings. I don't have any anger. I don't have any sadness because that's unspiritual. Zohar the Magnificent will tell you that if you that don't focus on those negative feelings, just focus on the positive ones. But the problem is, in order to become a Dr. Manhattan, you have to get rid of all that's inside of you that's not working for you. You have to get rid of all of those false assumptions, that base programming, all of which are going to be a ton of feelings. If you've been damaged and hurt, if you've been betrayed, if you've been abused, if you've had any kind of normal human discomfort that people want to take the magic pill for to be saved from, if you've had any of those things happen, when you release those emotions which are held inside of you, it's gonna hurt. If you didn't get enough love as a kid, you're going to come up with ways to compensate for that, which, you know, a psychologist at some point is going to point out that's very codependent of you or that's narcissistic of you. And those things need to go, which means that, let's say you find somebody who really loves you. You finally find true love. You're going to have to go through some pain. Because in order to get to the place where you're vulnerable enough to let somebody's love come in and touch you, you are going to have to get rid of the sadness, the anger, the betrayal, the hurt, which is going to be deep and it's going to be painful. So there's no free lunch here, guys. Now, the good news is that you can release all that garbage and you can be in that state of enlightenment you see there, which is the state of being completely just connected to your spiritual essence, which is joy. That can happen, but you have to do the work to get there. All right, let's keep going here. So, increased emotional awareness. Number 7, emotional releases. We pretty much already talked about that. So some people are emailing me saying, I'm finding myself more responsive. I'm finding myself more impatient. My fuse is shorter. That's good. It means that you're not stuffing your feelings down. Now, you're going to have to learn how to have those without unloading on people in negative ways, but that's okay. It's also, you're going to find later on that instead of having this short fuse and having a lot of anger or fear or confusion or whatever your emotional release is, you'll find that you're going to now be more closely connected to feelings of love and compassion. I mean, I'm like that now. I mean, sometimes, I'll be walking along the beach and there will be, a dad with, her little daughter playing in the ocean. And it takes everything in me not to just, tear up and cry, because it's just so sweet and beautiful. You get closer to your truest, most constructive emotions. Part of that could just be because I'm in my 50s and I'm in that grandfather. I'm turned into a grandpa. Maybe that's why grandparents are so nice to little kids. But you will be able to get to the place where your emotional sensitivity will be coming from places of true compassion, not projection. Most people who do that and they burst into tears, they're projecting. Their unresolved childhood emotions are coming to the surface and they're projecting onto somebody else. You're going to get past that. You're going to get past that codependent phase. You'll have actual, authentic feelings of compassion and love, feelings of connection. You'll no longer be plagued by feelings of what the world is doing to you and the secret cabal this and the secret organizations of that and the whatever, the alien overlords. You'll get rid of all that garbage. That's why when people say that, I go, drop all that garbage, because that's all it is. It's garbage. It's pure projection. Right in front of you is a universe filled with joy and love on the deepest level, happening around you all the time. You don't see it? It's because you're projecting your unresolved issues onto the world. And this will be one of those ways to move past that. 8, greater self-awareness. So greater self-awareness means that you will be more ruthless with yourself. You'll be more honest with yourself. You will become aware that when you thought you were being super righteous in this, you'll find out you were actually being selfish. You'll be willing to look at yourself more deeply and more honestly, and without guilt and without self-righteousness, without denial or any of that. You can just be comfortable with yourself and your imperfections. You'll be able to look yourself in the mirror and see all the positive things as well as the negative things, the things that need work as well as the things that you've accomplished that work well for you. Okay? So that's the next one. You'll have greater self-awareness. 9, you're going to have increased energetic abilities. This is, now, the reason I put this number 9 is because in order to have energetic powers, you must first get rid of all of the malware, the unnecessary software, the apps, all of the things on your hard drive that are taking up all of your RAM and all of your hard drive space. And that is done through this process. At the end of this process, or after you've gone through a lot of this process, then you're going to find that you have more RAM, more energy, more memory space in your body, in your mind. And that is going to then be translated into greater energetic abilities. That could be healing. I don't know. Could be psychic. Could be, I honestly don't know, and I don't care. Whatever your abilities are your abilities. People sometimes will email me and say, before I do your, whatever it is, your Qigong thing, I want to know what powers exactly am I going to get? I don't know. I'm not you. I don't know your karma. I don't know what you're supposed to get out of life. None of my business. You figure that out. That's your journey to figure out on your own. You're going to get whatever powers you need to balance out this life to help you get closer and closer to that place of union with the infinite. But you are going to have to go through some maturation. You're going to have to become more mature. And that will be one of the benefits, as well as whatever increased spiritual energetic abilities that come to you. Number 10, You're going to have increased channeling abilities. So anybody who's called to this path, in my experience, anybody who's called to this thunder path is somebody who is here to bring transformation to the world. Transformation is directly channeling whatever it is that the ancestors, the elves, the pixies, the fairies, the angels, the bodhisattvas, whatever word you want to use, the angels, whatever it is that they want to give to the world. They're looking for a vessel. They're constantly scouring, looking for somebody who has an open channel to them and who is willing and able to channel that information either through your actions, through your teachings. You know, there's a lot of stuff that I teach. Obviously, I do a lot of talking, but there's a lot of exercises that I teach that I have either resurrected or channeled or created, you know, brand new stuff that's the world has never seen. And to my great happiness and surprise, these things have been revolutionary for people. And that's just an idea of what I've done. I don't know what you're going to do. But there's a good chance that you are going to either be able to channel directly to people what they need to know. You'll give them some kind of a practice. Maybe you'll teach them within existing practices on much deeper levels. This is part of what's happening here. You know, there are people that I train who have been, you know, masters of Qigong and Tai Chi, and they think they know what those practices are. And I, because of my experience with this stuff, I say, just tweak this a little bit. And all of a sudden, they find that there's a power within that they couldn't see because they didn't even know that there was a way to access it that gave them that kind of power. This kind of knowledge, this kind of experience is what's going to come to you as a result of doing this work. And this is why I believe I've been chosen to give this to the world, because we're going through a process. We are at a crossroads here. And without getting all upset and bent out of shape, I'm going to tell you that if society does not get out of its childish victim mentality, you're going to see the world potentially go into another dark ages. The United States is, because I'm not in it, because I'm not in the U.S., I think people in the U.S. are kind of in a state of shock, and they don't really see how bad things are politically. But because I'm not in the United States and I'm watching what's happening, I can see that democracy is hanging by a thread. And the United States this may be its swan song. It may no longer be a democratic society. And it's directly because people are childish and afraid, and now they are fighting with objective reality to such a point that they're willing to do things that they would normally never do in order to keep their delusions going. And it's being reflected in the politics of the age. So I believe it's my job to give people a connection to the spiritual masters so that they can, pull up their big boy and big girl pants and really take a look at themselves and really be willing to go through some changes. Because if we don't evolve, we're either, we're always in one of two states. We're either in a state of expansion or contraction. In the navel center of everybody's body all the time, you are going between feelings of love and hate. You're constantly in a battle between these two. And sometimes the contraction and the negative feelings win over. And so in order to evolve, we have to continuously be willing to look at ourselves on the deepest levels and be willing to see that path of positivity and healing and growth and evolution. And I believe that's what I've been chosen to do, to give these new technologies so that people have an avenue to grow, heal, and evolve. It's not the path for everybody. The path of Dr. Manhattan is not for everybody. There's a lot of people that can't do it. A lot of people that just simply either can't do it or just aren't willing to. And unfortunately, I bump into this quite a lot. There's people I work with, and very routinely I'll lose students and clients, and it's because they've gotten to that place where they're going to have to go through they're going to have to change. They might have to give up something, and it never comes from me. I never tell people what they have to do. So it's not like I'm telling you have to do this, and then they go, well, I can't do that, I'm out of here. They work with me and they start to realize that something has to change. They might have to give up that relationship, maybe a marriage that's been for decades. They might have to give up where they live. They might have to give up their job. They might have to give up alcohol or drugs or something like that. It could be as simple as that. Give up their connection to their family. Their family might be dragging them down and keeping them in a place that doesn't serve them. You're going to have to go through a transformation. And when they get to that point, you either man and woman up, you either pull up your britches and you do it, or you end up either not showing up for our sessions, or I get the email saying that, yep, sorry, I'm going to, whatever. And I don't see them anymore. And they take off. This is one of those paths that will bring you to that place of evolution. And the question is, do you have the ability? We all do. The truth is, there isn't anybody that doesn't have the ability. The question is, are you willing? Are you willing to do whatever it takes? As my ancestors put it, those who die in battle go to Valhalla. Are you willing to die in battle? Are you willing to die to have your Dr. Manhattan experience? If you are, I guarantee you will have it. If you're not, then I don't know what will happen. More than likely, you will continue to regress into your challenges and your difficulties. But the good news is that at any moment in time, there's always a nanosecond where you can stop and change direction. It might be the most challenging thing you've ever done in your life. I've shared on this channel and on my other channel as well. I think probably the most defining moment in my life. I was 17 or 18, and I was in my second-story bedroom in my parents' house, and I was going through withdrawals, alcohol and drugs. I had decided to just hold myself up and just go through those withdrawals. And the emotional toll and the physical toll was such that I had a clock, and I had to look at the clock next to me. And I told myself, I'm going to go 10 seconds, and I'm not going to jump out that window head first. Not like open the window and jump out, but jump through the plate glass window. Everything in me, I was seeing it in my mind. My body was literally wanting to throw itself out the window. I'm looking at the clock. I'd go 10 seconds, and I go, I'm gonna sit here sweating and shaking, and I'm not gonna jump out the window. I'm gonna go 10 seconds. 10 seconds went by. I said, I lasted those 10 seconds. I'm gonna go another 10 seconds. And I did that for I don't know how long. I stayed holed up in that bedroom. I don't even know. It was weeks before I came out of there permanently. And that was a very educational experience, because there was something in me that said, if you make the decision that you have the ability to do anything that you choose, no matter how difficult. And I was willing to die. I'll die before I jump through that window, or pick up that phone, or get that fix, or whatever the hell it was that I was wanting to do. So whatever you're going through, yours might be, I want to pick up and play video games. I want to, whatever the hell yours is, that life and death scenario. I want to pick up the phone and call my ex-girlfriend. I want to go and, tell my dad, okay, Dad, I'll go ahead and I won't be a ballerina, I'll be a football player. Whatever it is that's that life and death thing for you, there's always a split second where you can choose. And so when I ask you the question, do you have the ability? Are you willing to do this? And I say some people can't. The truth is everybody can. It's just at some point they make the choice not to. They'll tell themselves that I couldn't help myself. The truth is that you could. If you dig deep enough, you can. You know, this part right here where Dr. Manhattan pulls himself back together, what I love, I don't see it here, but if, in the movie The Watchmen, he goes through this transformational experience where he has to will his bones to come back together. He has to will his musculature. He has to will his nervous system. He has to will himself back together out of nothing. And that's what gives him the power to control reality, is because he willed himself. He made the decision to bring himself back into physical manifestation. And that means, you know, his strength of will to do that is what we need. No matter what you're going through at any point in time, there is a split second where you can stop. And I don't care how nuts you are. I don't care if you suffer from mental illness, a personality disorder. There's always that 1 second where you can stop and do something different, even if it feels like it's killing you. This is why my ancestors knew. Those who are willing to die in battle go to Valhalla. Are you willing to do that? If so, I have a practice for you, and I will do what I can to guide you through it and lead you through it. All of these things here, maoshan.thunderwizard.com, the 90-day challenge, the lightning Qigong, all of that stuff is there to give you that. And if you're willing to go through the transformation, all of these things, I wrote this down because it's not only things that I went through, but I keep getting people asking me about this. Is there something wrong? Is this right? Am I blowing a fuse? What's happening here? I went through the same thing. All right, I'm happy to take any questions if you have any. And I do prefer questions over your thoughts. This is a lecture. It's not, if I wanted your opinion, I would go to your channel and ask. But I am happy to answer any questions. All right, let's see what the heck's going on here. So let me just save that. Excuse me. Let's go back here. What the heck's going on here? Sorry, I lost the page. All right, doesn't look like there's a lot. We only got 34 people on here, so now's the time to start asking questions. So let's see here, vincent.thunderwizard.com. You can go to his website, which is that, vincent.thunderwizard.com. The reason why, if you're wondering, why do I always mention him? Because he is somebody who trained in my style of astrology. And if you go up here to courses.thunderwizard.com, you can also become a certified Thunder Wizard astrologer, and I will give you your own website. Vincent has his, you can have yours. So if you want to see, you can go look at his and see what you can have for yourself. You can also just go to astrology.thunderwizard.com and you can see all of the other people. And if you show up on the live stream and say, hey, I'm here, I will tell people, go to their website. What else? Zach Johnson. Nope, I did not surf today. I'm going to go surfing tomorrow. Zach Johnson is one of those people, I keep telling him, ask questions, but he still just keeps dropping his thoughts and opinions on it. And I end up giving, carving in new ones. All right, what else? Flux Pavilion question. Do you think UFOs are aliens? Flux Pavilion, welcome to the channel. Thank you so much. I do every now and then do videos where I say, Thunder Wizard answers all of your questions no matter how stupid. The rest of the time, I want you to ask questions about what I'm teaching, what I'm talking about today, or things I've taught before. So instead of trying to throw up, superficial questions that you're kind of bored and you want me to talk about. I'd prefer that you ask me about what I'm teaching. So you can look through all of my videos and see if I have any videos about UFOs and aliens. Then you'll have my answer. Bryce Gertson question, would you consider the Qigong practices attached to your lecture as an avenue for the Ascended Masters to work through you on this plane? Yeah, I thought I was clear on that. The sign is increased channeling abilities. So maybe you asked that before I got to number 10. But yes, the short answer to your question is yes. God Emperor question, can superpowers make you happy in the long run? So God Emperor, you've been on my channel for a while. I know that you have heard me answer that question. I know you do, so I want you to tell me, first off, yes or no, do you remember me addressing that question? And then I'll answer you. Flux Pavilion question, does your Qigong practice you developed increase clairvoyance and psychic ability? So Flux Pavilion, again, if maybe you're just coming on to this video, but I went through and I said, again, let's look at the 10 signs. So remember, the two most important things, assuming that you've been watching from the beginning, is two most important things I teach are, 1, pay attention, number 2, put effort. Two most important things in the world. You can boil down every problem in the world and every problem in your life to one of those two things. You're either not paying attention because you're wrapped up in your own thing, we all do it, or you didn't put any effort into it. You know, when I go to park and people, you know, just park, you know, and they take up 2 slots and they're halfway in, you can tell they just pulled up and, you know, they didn't give a crap. They didn't pay attention to what they're doing. And sometimes they're just people that think they don't know how to drive, and so they don't even try to park because they think I'm not a good parker. They don't put effort. Pay attention and put effort. So I said earlier to your question here, at some point, I can't remember where it was, but at some point I said, you know, people ask me, very similar to what you're asking me, they go, I want to know exactly what I'm going to get out of your Qigong practice. And I say, I don't know what you're going to get out of it. You're going to have your increased spiritual ability based on your karma. So if you are meant, if you have within you the ability to have greater clairvoyance and psychic ability, then that's what you're going to get. But I can't tell you what your superpowers are. You know, the superpower movies, it's actually accurate, because, you know, when somebody, you know, they hit puberty or something and they get their superpowers, we don't know what superpowers they're going to get. Or they get, you know, injected with the superpower virus thing. We wait and see what powers they're going to get. I don't know what powers you're going to get. You have to take the risk. You have to do it. All of these questions, all of the questions about, does your Qigong practice do this? Does your Qigong practice do that? All of those questions are you telling me, I want to do it, but I'm afraid, so my unconscious is coming up with all of these questions. Or you have a selfish fantasy of, if you had superpowers and you had, you know, like God Emperor asked, am I going to be happy? I don't know if you're going to be happy or not. You're going to go through whatever you're going to go through. Whatever powers you get are going to be whatever powers you get. So what if I said no? Flux Pavilion, if I said, no, you're not going to get clairvoyance and psychic ability, you're going to go, oh, well, then I don't want to do it. The whole idea is for you to evolve to your highest potential. And these questions you're asking yourself ahead of time are actually ways to avoid. You're looking for reasons to avoid. Part of you is, you know, you're wanting, I'm not a salesman. You know, a salesman will tell you whatever you want to hear. In fact, salesmen are really good to figure out what it is you're looking for, and then they'll get ahead of you and tell you, you know, you're going to get psychic powers if you do this. Because if they think that's what you want. They'll ask you leading questions so they can figure it out. I'm not here to do that. So you actually have to do the work to find out what's going to happen. Okay? Chong the Viking, question. When you are doing the morning part of the 90-day challenge, is it okay to chant out the rune portion of the practice instead of reciting them silently? Yes. Vincent.thunderwizard.com, question. Would Kundalini energy be considered 5-element energy, be considered fire element? Yes, but that's well known. So I mean, when you read about Kundalini, it's well known. It's considered to be fire. Fire is the feminine. People think fire is masculine, but the internal fire is feminine. The lightning power in the body is considered the fire element and feminine. The Kundalini is fire and it is feminine. God Emperor, in response to my question, because he asked, are superpowers going to make you happy? And I said, what do you remember that I said? He says, I remember you saying superpowers don't make a person happy, but I don't remember you saying it can't make you happy in the long term. So God Emperor, what I will tell you is that superpowers are the natural result. Superpowers, let me just clear things up for you. I know we can tell by your name, God Emperor, that it's obvious that you want superpowers because you think superpowers are going to keep you safe. When you say happy, God Emperor, what you mean is safe. You think control is what's going to make you feel safe. It won't. Control won't bring you happiness. The ability to control and dominate others is in fact weakness. Your desire to control others and control universes is actually coming from your insecurity. Real power, the power to become Dr. Manhattan, comes from being completely vulnerable to everything. It's an illusion that he's controlling things. He's not. He is in a relationship with the universe where he is submitting to the universe, and in response, the universe is submitting to him. This is, in the Vedic myths, there's a myth where one of the demons, I don't remember what his name is, the great ego or something like that, and he does penance to Shiva for 10,000 years, and Shiva gives him control over the physical universe. And so then he goes to the mother of the universe. He sees Durga bathing in a forest stream naked, and he's filled with lust for her. And he says, I have to have her. So he tells his servant, I don't know what the name for the servant was, manipulation or greed or something like that. He says, go tell her that she's my wife. The demon comes up to her and he says, the great God, the controller of the universe, the great ego, has said that you are his wife. Come with me now or I will take you by force. She says, if you can take me by force, go ahead. He's not able to take her by force. And he says, you don't understand. You have been commanded by the Lord of the universe. And she says, I will submit myself to the man who can defeat me in battle. And what she means by that is the one male that is so strong within himself that he gives himself to her, that he surrenders himself to her. When there is a male that has no need to control, that has no insecurity to puff his chest out and tell people what to do and take over the universe, when that male who is so surrendered to the whole universe, obviously Shiva, so surrendered to the whole universe that he surrenders himself to her, she must then give herself to him. So God Emperor, all of your questions, your fantasies about controlling universes, this is coming from your insecurity. It is not coming from your soul. It's coming from, that thing in you that you're aware of that you need to work on. So I'm not going to tell you that you can't have happiness if you do this, but it's not going to be because of your superpowers. It's going to be from actually submitting. to the most vulnerable place within you and being vulnerable. In order to be connected to everything, you must be vulnerable to everything. Are you prepared to do that? So yeah, superpowers, you get them. People, this is the carrot that dangles in front of, that dangled in front of me to learn these things was I wanted to be the most powerful martial artist on the planet. I wanted superpowers, and I got them. I'm not going to say I was the most powerful martial artist on the planet, because there were people more powerful than me, but every human that came near me that just wanted to, just spar, walked away, saying, I never want to get in a fight with that guy ever. And they would avoid me. They'd see me coming and they'd get out of my way. So I got what I wanted. And then I got a bunch of other powers from it as well. Psychic powers and other things and none of them brought happiness. So that's why I don't chase after them anymore. I do this stuff now so that I can have that feeling of being high by being connected to everything in the universe. I don't honestly know what my powers are, and I don't care. That's strength. Okay, what else? Let's back up here. So he was answering my questions. Ed the Wave question, how can wearing certain colors enhance the effect of the 5 elements? I don't know. I don't know that I said that. Is that something that I said? Maybe it does, maybe it doesn't. I honestly don't know. Like wearing yellow for earth or green for wood, for example. I don't know. There are other people that teach that, and maybe it's true, maybe it's not. I've heard those kinds of things before. I think colors are something that are, I think your astrology chart will tell you what colors are good for you. What else? Vincent.thunderwizard.com question. Where'd you go? Would Kundalini energy be considered? Oh yeah, I already answered that. Where are we going? I have to keep changing because every time something, every time somebody drops something, the chat thing moves, and I have to put it back where it was. Baba Junzo question, is it possible for other people in your house to get intense dreams when you're becoming Dr. Manhattan, just you? Then he goes on to say, family recently had intense dreams about me scaring away mountain lions. Is it possible? I guess it is possible. Vincent.thunderwizard.com question, I have been doing the lightning Qigong since it was first released. I can feel my meridians open in my right arm and hand, but not my left. How can I open the meridians in my left hand? Well, just because you don't feel it doesn't mean it hasn't happened. Feelings are great, but they're not everything. If there is an energetic imbalance, it is psychosomatic, meaning that it's revealing your psychological state of being. Again, you're not my apprentice where we work with each other in person one-on-one. So if I knew more about you, I would know what it is. But what little I do know about you, there's a real problem in terms of your connection to the feminine. So your feeling of not being loved and nurtured by the feminine, specifically your mother, that's going to be the left side of your body. So that's a psychosomatic expression of you feeling unloved by the feminine. So that means you need to seek out the feminine within yourself. So when you do the yin yang hands, right? Here's the normal, which is the right hand and the left hand. Switch it around. Put the left hand on top and the right hand on the bottom. Not to get any physical feeling, but to be able to tap into your feminine energy. You're not going to get feminine energy from outside of you. You're going to have to find it within yourself. You're going to have to, instead of on an unconscious level seeking that love and approval from your mother, you're going to have to then realize, okay, I'm not going to get what I want from mom. So I'm going to seek to get it from the feminine in the universe. That's this as well. So you're doing it. So it's just revealing to you your psychological experience. It just means keep working to connect to the feminine and find the feminine wherever you can. AA32, whatever it is, the rest of it gave me $5. Thank you, I appreciate that. God Emperor, it's not a question. I felt like a bad person for thinking a sociopathic thought and typing it as an honest feeling, so I retracted it. So there's nothing wrong. This is why I say have an honest feeling. If you have I can't judge you for your feelings. It's a feeling. You can't help it. The only thing that matters is what you do. You can be the most sociopathic person in the universe, but if you act like somebody who's loving and constructive and you do it just for its own sake, in other words, you're not manipulating somebody, pretending to be nice so that you can take something from them. If you actually do nice things, one of the things, if you want to overcome this, here's something that you can do. Do something every day for somebody and don't let them know that you did it. Do something nice for everybody, but the goal is you can't get caught. In fact, if you do something nice and they don't even know that something was done for them, do that at least once a day, every day. You can want to be selfish and sociopathic as much as you want. It's just a feeling. The universe doesn't care about your feelings. It cares about your actions. Learn how to take loving actions, unconditionally giving generous actions without any payoff. Just learn to be in that state. That will put you in a state of, by the way, just by doing that, you open yourself up to the universe and you get more and more energy just by doing that. A32R730ON question. Magha, I guess you're talking to me. Purva Falguni here. Right, so it looks like I've done an astrology thing for you. I don't remember who you are, but let's see. I have the same Aruta as you, Libra in the 3rd. You have Mars there, I have the Moon. What would be the way you would carry yourself if you had my placement? Well, it would be a very different communication, wouldn't it? Libra is balance. So Libra is the shaman, the healer, the counselor, the person who brings balance. You know what? They're having a party and they don't have whatever. They don't have dip mix. So I'm going to bring a dip. I'm going to bring you're bringing the Libra is bringing the thing in to balance things out. People come to you for that. Now, your Aruda is the 3rd house, which means that you're a communicator. So the 3rd house can be writing, can be books, can be movies, can be video, can be all that. That's why I have to do video. It's interesting, my fantasy is I'm just going to put up a video that's going to go so viral that I never have to work again. And I have all these links, and people will just for the next million years be clicking on my links, and I'll just be counting my money. I won't have to do anything. But that's not my Aruda. My Aruda is the 3rd house, which is repeated, short term. If I don't put a video up every few days, my income goes down. People buy stuff from me because they saw me that day. It's just the way it goes. That's my Aruda. So I'm forced to keep showing up and do this if I want to survive. And that's, by the way, another great way to keep me regularly making videos is support the channel in some way. I prefer to give you something that helps you. That's why I don't have any, donate buttons, because I just don't believe in that. I think that if you're going to pay for something, you should get something from it. So you're the Moon. So you're not Mars. This is why I tell people, don't give me your opinion. I'm going to slice you to pieces. I'm going to show you where you're full of crap. Because Mars in the 3rd house is direct, pointing fingers, telling you what to do. Get up off your ass and go do that. You know what your problem is? That's Mars in the third house. Now mine is in Libra, which means that there has to be a healing end game, which is why I have to keep repeating to myself after I'm pointing my fingers. I have to say, this isn't about me. I'm doing this because this will help you. That's how I do it. And it's not necessarily a good thing. Mars in the third house, if it's not your Aruda, is a problem. People who have Mars in the third house and it's not their Aruda, it means that you have to watch out because you're constantly stepping on people's toes and telling them what they need to do, and you need to knock that shit off. I do it. When I do it, people pay me for it. Now, those of you who work with me on a one-on-one, like if you Skype me, you'll realize that I'm a very different person most of the time. I'm actually very patient. I work really hard to be gentle with people and really connect with them and make sure is that okay? Do you understand what I mean? I'm not trying to, you see a much more compassionate person. But when I'm on when the green light is on, my Aruda is out, and I'm ruthless because that's what I'm supposed to be. So yours is Moon. That means when you communicate, you have to communicate with nurturing, with healing, with compassion, the mother, you also have healing hands. The third house is also hands. So Mars in the third house means you don't want to box with me. I got Mars in each one of these hands, which means that if I make contact, you're in big trouble. Moon means that when you touch people, so you'd make a great masseuse. You could put people to sleep just by putting your hands on them. You can heal them. You can nurture them. So you might have healing powers. You might be a masseuse. You might be a Reiki, maybe a Qigong healer. I don't know. So those are the things that people see when you walk in. With Libra especially, it's Moon and Libra in the third house. Your hands are very healing. You have very healing speech, very healing communication. So you should dress that way. You should dress, like the moon. Colors, clothing, maybe draping, loose-fitting clothing. I don't know. As opposed to me, with the cut-off sleeves and this and that's what people need because I'm Mars in the third house. All right, what else? Gert Van Zyl question. Gert Van Zyl, you've been on my channel a lot. I have some issues with you because you don't listen and you don't pay attention. I've said to write the word question in all caps. You're not brand new, so you should know better. So write the word question in all caps. Why? So I don't miss your question. It also shows me, my thing about you, Gert, is that my feeling is that you don't pay attention and you don't listen and you're always seemingly trying to push my buttons in some way. You may not be conscious of that, but that's my experience of you. Now, let me take a look at your question. Can your soul bring experiences from previous lives with it as it evolves? That's called karma. That's what karma means. You've just defined what karma is. So yes. Vincent.thunderwizard.com. Honest feeling. I got irritated when going to the grocery store earlier today. I don't know if it's caused by being around too many people or what. I don't know either. It's just a feeling. I mean, if you can get to the source of it, great. But it's, everything is a meditation. Here's what people don't realize about meditation. People think that meditation is accomplishing something. It's not. It's practice. Specifically, now I can't do this kind of meditation very well myself, but this is what most people think meditation is. And it is a type of meditation. It is that emptiness meditation, where you empty your mind and you watch the thoughts and the feelings come up and you go, oh, that's interesting. Oh, that's interesting. And you learn how to look at the feelings and be detached from them. And that gives you, that's an exercise so that when you're in public and you're in the store and you're irritated, you go, I'm irritated right now. And you don't have to take any action on it. I'm not the greatest at this. I mean, you guys know that. I get irritated and it's very hard for me not to show that irritation. But this is what meditation is. So um, this is what you do. This is what's happening is probably in the past you would have had that irritation for whatever reason. Too many people or who knows what. You would have that irritation and instead you would shove it inwards. And so you would either be not aware of it, or you would probably have some shameful feeling, like you would feel embarrassed or shameful. Oh, there's so many people here. Now you're doing the work, and instead of taking it out on yourself, that negative, self-directed negativity, you're now having your feeling. I'm irritated. Oh my God, that person's driving me nuts. That's good. You don't have to feel shameful for those feelings anymore. There's nothing wrong with being irritated. It's only a problem if you act out on it inappropriately. You can have whatever feelings you want and love yourself through them, but you don't have to act on them. 856 lightning, honest feeling. Not too happy with the intensity of emotions, often escalating very quickly. Frequently they just surge and I can feel it coursing up and flowing out of my eyes in tears. 90-day lightning Qigong member. Good. I feel for you. I have compassion for you. But good. This is what we're here. You're having a Dr. Manhattan experience. You're cleaning out the hard drive. You're being authentic. It's sad, but so many societies teach people just not to have their feelings. You're shamed out of them. There are other places, like for instance, it's very Western, very British, very American. If you go to a funeral and everybody is, or worse than that, they're just stoic. And there are other places in the world where you are expected to wail and moan for 40 days. You're expected to wear black and be constantly wailing and crying for 40 days. People just don't expect anything from you. Your husband dies, your kids die, they're just like, oh no, they're in mourning. Just leave them alone. They got 40 days. They're crying their eyes out there. People are encouraged to get rid of those feelings and to have them. So, we're taught to shove all this stuff down. And now that you're doing this kind of stuff, instead of what many people may have thought, which is I'm going to be so impervious to all of my feelings now, the opposite is happening. You're having all of these feelings come out. So that's a good thing. It's good. This is why I offer apprenticeship. It's good to have somebody to talk to, whether that be me or a counselor or a friend or somebody. You should be having somebody that you can talk to about it. Another $10. Thank you. I appreciate that. Very kind of you. What else? Oh, I think that was in response to, I don't know what that was in response to. I don't see any more questions here. All right, so everybody know what's going on here? Maoshan.thunderwizard.com. I just uploaded the metal element. So there's 5 elements. You see me doing, right now actually you're doing the more advanced ones there, but there are 5 elements. You have wood now is up and metal is up. Every time I upload a new element, price is going to go up. So if you want to save money, don't wait. If you're thinking I'll wait until all 5 elements are up, well, you can do that, and I will be grateful to you. But the longer you wait, the more the price goes up. So we've got 2. There's 3 more elements to go. Time is of the essence if you want to save some money. Now, if you are doing this, then you're going to want to go here and sign up and subscribe for the Lightning Qigong. The Lightning Qigong, the Warrior 90-day Lightning Qigong. So if you go to Thunder Wizard, click for that. That is going to be the Maoshan University. Maoshan.thunderwizard.com. These are the sorcerers in China. Very select group of people, and they have this knowledge of the heart mind. They have this warrior spirit fighting knowledge, and so I'm revealing that, what I know of it, to the public. I am working with those guides. those Maoshan guides. I am working with them. I'm continually getting downloads. I have other things I can do when I'm ready to download more information. I know what to do to get more information from them. This is going to be the university, the Maoshan University. So it's a monthly subscription. If you don't like it, unsubscribe. But if you're doing this, you have to do that. If you're doing that, you don't have to do that, but that is the elite version of that. But this is really what's most important. My goal is to get 1,000 people. I want 1,000 people doing those practices. You know, I don't know at what point, but when I have enough people on there, we're going to do things like have live meditations, live energy work. We're going to then do live intentions. If we take that Maoshan energy and we focus that intention on the world, imagine the kinds of things we can do. My goal is, I know exactly where I'm going to live. It's 20 minutes up the coast here from me, and it's surrounded by Rainforest National Park. And I'm going to start, once the borders open up and I'm able to legally do it, I'm going to start inviting people to come up for seminars, and we're going to start learning this stuff in my experience, the most powerful rainforest in the world. So that's where all this thing is heading. You want to help me create that? That's the best way to do it. Sign up for the 90-day Warrior Lightning Qigong and become a monk in this newly created worldwide Maoshan University. All right, that's it, guys. Nothing else? Okay, one question. Patrick Neal, please write the word question in all caps so I don't miss it. Do you have any spells to attract women? Yes. Why, you want one? Watch my practice. Watch my practice. Do the practices. Become an apprentice and maybe I'll teach you one. Vincent.thunderwizard.com. Thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah, I appreciate you too, my friend. Thanks. Thank you to everybody for showing up. All right, that's it. I'm all done. Take care of yourselves. And, remember that the world is interested in your actions, but you are responsible to have all of your feelings. When you can have all of your feelings and you have the ability to determine your actions, you will be enlightened. And everybody will serve you. The whole universe will serve you when you can live in that space. You can be unhappy, you can be happy, doesn't matter. These are feelings that come and go. Being a warrior, being a knight, being somebody of valor, being somebody with nobility, means that you have all of your thoughts and feelings. And by the way, when you have all of your thoughts and feelings, other people around you will be able to have all their thoughts and feelings. I had an experience not too long ago. I was with somebody and she had to leave. She had to get up and leave because just being in my presence, all of her unresolved feelings were coming. She was like, I'm going to cry if I stay here. And I wasn't doing anything. I was just being myself. It means that when you do that, you have this healing power everywhere you go. If you love yourself in all of your feelings, everybody else will then be stimulated to be able to have their feelings. Some people won't be able to be around you. It'll be too much. Other people will be attracted to you. You'll attract the kind of people that will want to have all of their feelings with you and want to nurture you back. When you are this person where you're walking through life, having all of your thoughts, feelings, and emotions, regardless of how uncomfortable, and you have the consciousness to take constructive action for yourself and for others, the whole universe bows down in front of you. You are now Shiva walking the earth. All right, that's it. See you guys later.